Hi everyone, I am Harji Sidhu, your realtor, builder, and a civil engineer who works across Southern Ontario. I help people buy smart, sell for more, and build their dream homes in Ontario. So let's get started. So let's dive in together on how that property looks like. So what we are showing here right now is some of the exterior pictures that we have for this property. So these are some of the pictures. The front yard, the backyard, it looks in decent shape, but it does need some works. And then the backyard looks okay, just needs some landscaping there back. And at the front, it does need some work, as the garage needs some work. So we will, and at the back there is some issue with the foundation here, but that can be fixed, no issues. Everything is fixable as long as you have the right and competent people working for you. So at the front there is probably some issues with some of the shingles and the siding as well, but that can be fixed, no issues. So those of you guys who don't know what BRRRR means, BRRRR means B for buy. By buy you mean you buy properties which is undervalued in terms of value, and there's some upside potential to it. And then next comes R, which means you're going to renovate that property, add some value added strategic improvements in the house. For example, you can upgrade the kitchen, you can upgrade the washrooms, new flooring, new paint, and exterior, the landscaping can be redone, for some money. But those strategic investments does help a lot at times. And then the third one after the property is renovated, you go out there, you rent the property at the fair market rent, and after you rent it out, you go to a lender to take the numbers with you, show the current appraised value of the property, which is hopefully a lot more than you bought the property for, and then you take that to refinance the property. And then the last R goes for repeat. So the idea is to try to get majority or almost all of your money out, whatever you put in terms of your closing cost, your renovation cost out, and then repeat that same process time and again. So now all of you guys hopefully know what BRRRR means. So we'll go into the next slide, which is let's do an investment analysis for this listing that we saw. So this listing, I have been able to get it through my contacts. So it's listed for sale at $350,000. We'll be able to get it, which is, even with the worst condition, which is still like $50,000 to $60,000 lower than the fair market value of the property. If the seller just cleans all the garbage debris from the property and lists the property as is on MLS, this would definitely sell somewhere between $400,000 to $420,000. You don't want to overspend that money because you're probably not going to get it back, right? So which is why this is the budget we came in. And on the interior, we are thinking on building a basement with a separate entrance and replacing the flooring and doing a brand new paint. And maybe we'll add some 1 or 2 accent feature walls as well. So we have come up with this budget. And then onto the closing side and holding costs, we are expecting that to cost around $20,000. It can be more, can be less, but let's consider $20,000 for this property. So down payment that you would need, assuming loan to cost is 80%, down payment 20%, which means $70,000. So initial mortgage amount will be $280,000 on this property. And then now let's consider all the cash that you would need upfront. Down payment $70,000, renovation budget around $100,000. So maybe I did a mistake here, but it should have been $100,000 here as well. But yeah, I'll admit the mistake here. And then closing and holding cost, let's just say $20,000 more. So total cash needed here is $190,000. That is how much cash you will need till the point you go to the bank to refinance on the property. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one, which is let's look at how approximately how much money you would spend on from your total budget on some of these items. Like for example, okay, this is a typo error here too. If the budget is $100,000, we would typically spend about 35% of that in kitchen and bathrooms, and 25% of that would go into structural or systems, which would include any HVAC or any structural issue like framing or electrical works, mechanical works, and all that stuff would take it. And then 20% would go towards cosmetics, which would be like paint, flooring, and all that type of stuff. And about 20% would go for landscaping. If we saw on the landscaping side, the property needs some work. The roofing might have to be replaced or need some care, and even on the exterior vinyl, it needs some care as well. So we have budgeted about 20% for there. So now moving on to the next. So let's just say, looking at the comparables, the fair market value after the property is renovated is coming around $600,000. And so if you don't know how to do the comparables on that property, I can do a separate video on how to do a fair market comparable for a specific property. We will not go in there in that video. If you have a very strong realtor working for you in your team, that's all you need. And then let's just say the fair after renovation value of this property is $600,000 after the renovations are done. And then so your total investment, which is your initial money, so the total investment that includes your purchase and renovation costs and everything, comes to around $470,000, which means when you go out there and refinance the property, you have gained about $130,000 in forced appreciation, which is pretty much, that's how much equity we have created, because we have created a value. We have taken down a bad property, increased value of it, and that's how much we are probably going to take home. And then so in the next step, what we will be doing is we will be pulling our capital, pretty much all the initial capital out of this deal. So in this case, because I know that this is a so good deal, assuming a new loan to value about 80%, which means your new mortgage amount would be about $480,000 here. And your original mortgage, which you have taken till now, is $280,000, which means the difference in these is how much cash you will be able to pull out. Okay, so if we look at it, our initial investment till now has been $175,000, and then the total cash pulled out that we would have pulled out here would be $200,000, which means after we refinance the property and get everything back, because $190,000 is what we have spent from our own pocket, that $190,000 come back into our pocket, and still we are left with $10,000 more. So which means if you have that $990,000 that you own, you would be left with $200,000 to invest in your next BRRRR project. So which is also, in a way, you're recycling your money to create equity into properties, and you can just scale up. And now let's look at and yeah, this is another slide that I have got. So till now we have invested $190,000, pulled out $200,000, cash in hand is $10,000, and while we have $120,000 equity still left in the property. And then now let's look at the monthly cash flow analysis after the property is rented out. So I have come up with very conservative estimates. The monthly rental of about $300 a month, that would include renting your basement and main floor separately. So, and your total mortgage expenses at that point is going to be approximately $2,400. It would depend on the interest rate you would get, but it can vary $100 here and there. So let's just assume $2,400 per month now, and then on top you would have more expenses and other expenses like property tax, your vacancy rate, and the fire insurance and home insurance that you would be paying monthly. So let's consider another $600 a month for that. So if you look at it, we are generating $300 monthly positive cash flow, which becomes to about $3,600 annually. And now if we look at our cash on cash return, so our cash on cash return is infinite, because after we have pulled out our money, we have literally $0 left in this deal. So which means cash on cash return is infinite, and so is the equity. And in this deal, after pulling out all of our initial investment, we would still have about $120,000 of equity left. And then total return, even in this is the formula. You guys can use it to calculate your own deals too, but in this one, it is infinite. Okay. And then some of the key takeaways of BRRRR is, the first is, in this deal, we would recover $10,000 more than what we invested, which allows us to do immediate reinvestment in any other deal or any other BRRRR deal. And then the second key takeaway is equity building. We have created $120,000 in equity that we still hold into the property after refinance, out of forced appreciation. And then the third one is passive income, because the property, even after refinancing, still able to pay for itself. So it's paying for itself in the long term. Every month it pays the mortgage, it will still increase in value. It will increase in the appreciation you will take home. And then the last one is, after, let's suppose after 10 years, the property values have increased by another 10%. So that's another money you would be taking home. And then the last one is scalability, because most of your money, in this case, all of your money is out. So you are able to scale, if you are able to get out of your deal, still property being cash flow, you will be able to go out there and find a new deal and do the same process. And hopefully, hypothetically assuming, you get the same number of equity. So you cycle your money into properties, and now you had of almost $240,000 of equity, which when you sell the property, you will be able to take that home as well, but that would be subjected to taxes. Like for example, anytime you will sell a property, you would be subject to taxes under CRA. So in this video, we won't go over the taxes, but yes, this is all the stuff that I have to share on BRRRR. So if you think that you guys got value out of this deal, so do like and subscribe my channel and share it with your friend who wants to do this. And also, if you guys are also hunting these kind of very aggressive deals like this off market with lots of upside potential, I am going to be creating a WhatsApp group where I will be posting these kind of deals. So do go into the description of this video to get yourself added into that group. So see you in the next video.